folks, and welcome back. Cumberland Outdoorsman here with you again. And first of all, let me apologize for not posting any videos recently. My other camera went on the fritz, so I had to buy a new camera, and that's what I'm using today. But what I've got for you today is a little ballistics test, and it's for the muzzleloader season that's coming up. Here in Tennessee, the archery season opens first. This is the end of summer. In a couple of weeks the archery season will be open, and then after that in November the muzzleloader season starts, and then after that at the end of November, or towards the end of November, the regular rifle season opens up. But the question I always had about the projectiles that I was using in my inline muzzleloader was, okay, I was getting great accuracy, terrific accuracy out of these Thompson Center Shockwave bullets. Okay, this is a saboted bullet that's encased by black sabot here. It's let's see, it has 4 petals. As you can see, I've got one here, 4 petals there, and it carries a 250 grain Hornady bullet. I believe these are Hornady, just like the SST centerfire rifle bullets, and they have a polymer tip, and there's little grooves under the polymer tip that's supposed to aid in expansion on the terminal performance of these bullets. And like I said, I was getting terrific accuracy with these bullets. And here lately I've been using this Blackhorn 209 powder. It's been out for a few years now, but still fairly new. And the powder does burn much cleaner than Pyrodex, or definitely cleaner than black powder. And even 777, it's cleaner than 777, and I'm getting really good accuracy out of this. I'm averaging about 2-inch groups or so at 100 yards. That's really good for a muzzleloader. But what I've got today is some water jugs at 50 yards. I figure 50 yards is a pretty good medium range for a muzzleloader shot at white-tailed deer. The guns will perform further out, but here in the woodlands of Tennessee, 50-yard shots are pretty much an average shot. If you go back to my muzzleloader hunt from last season, you'll see that I harvested a pretty nice 8-point buck, and he was right around between 50 to 60 yards. And the bullet went all the way through, and I followed the blood trail to the deer. He ran maybe 100 yards or so, and it was a perfect behind the shoulder shot. You know, that deer probably should have expired a little quicker, but I mean, I got the deer anyway, you know. And I've had mixed results with those bullets. Some of them, you know, the deer runs a long way. I normally always find the deer. I don't think I've ever lost a deer with those bullets. And on one occasion I shot a really big buck, a big 10-pointer several years ago with those, and the deer fell right there in his tracks. I mean, it was boom, lights out. You know, the deer was down. So anyway, that's the performance that I was getting. I'm not sure what kind of performance you're getting if you use these type of bullets, but you know, I'd be glad to hear about your results, so leave your comments below as to what kind of performance you're getting. I'd love to hear that, and I'm sure other viewers would as well. So let's take a shot. First of all, I've got 8 jugs down here at 50 yards, like I mentioned, and we'll see if we can capture one of these bullets and see what kind of terminal performance that we get out of that load. Oh, by the way, I should say, I was using 110 grains of the Blackhorn 209 and just a regular 209 Winchester primer. So that's the load that I've been using, you know, ever since I started using an inline. So anyway, let's give that a try and see what we come up with here. Okay, there's the water jugs at 50 yards. So here we go. Okay, let's go check it out. Hopefully we captured that bullet. Looks like it blew one or two of those jugs way off to the left. I see some water leaking out of one of them. Wow. Man, I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Blew these jugs all the way over here. There's water all over the place here. Now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Uh-oh. I think I hear something. That's 8 jugs of water. And there's the bullet. Huh. No expansion. All it did was push the polymer tip down into the bullet a little ways. Wow, I didn't expect that. But that's it, folks. 50 yards at these water jugs. It went through 7 of them and landed in the 8th one. That's where it stopped. Now it probably got pushed sideways. That's possible because of the way this is deformed here. That's a possibility that that bullet actually got pushed sideways. Therefore it didn't expand as intended. But that's an actual test on water jugs at 50 yards. So now I'm going to try another type of expansion medium, and that's wet newspaper. So let's give that a shot. Well, folks, from the first test, you could see that that bullet actually failed to expand on these water jugs. So what I did afterwards is, I didn't get it on video, but I set up some more jugs and I shot that same type of bullet at the same distance, same load and everything. And this is what I got. Okay, that bullet fully expanded. As you can see, all the petals peeled back over the base of the bullet, and it retained the lead core inside of the copper. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to shoot these jugs again on video, and right over here I've got some wet newspaper medium, and in the past I've used it, as you could see on my 22 videos, where I tested different types of 22 loads, and it gives you very realistic results in regards to what kind of expansion you get out of the load that you're using. So we're going to fire one of these Thompson Center Shockwave 250 grain bullets into that expansion medium, the wet newspaper, and another one into the jugs, and hopefully we'll be able to capture those bullets and see what kind of an effect that we get. So here we go. Stay with me. All right. We hit just a little bit high right there, but that's at 50 yards, so it should be right on at about 100. Let's see what kind of damage we did here. I believe I caught that bullet. Well, look at that. It just ripped that stuff apart. I mean, that's some massive damage right there. Anyway, let's see where that bullet went. Hoping I can find that. It's got to be here somewhere. There's a piece of lead, and there's a piece of the jacket. The bullet's got to be here, close. Did it turn? Well, let me do a little digging around. Let's see if we can find it here. Oh, there it is. Yeah, Well, you can definitely say that it opened up. Retained a lot of its weight, but definitely opened up there. I think that's where it hit the bottom of the wood. If it had stayed centered in that expansion medium, we'd have a nice little mushroom there. Next, I'm going to shoot into these jugs here one more time, just to see what kind of performance we get. Okay folks, I'm going to try that shot one more time. I know I said I'd shoot the water jugs next, but I'm not really satisfied as to the results of that last test. So I want to shoot it one more time to kind of get a better idea of what that bullet does on wet newspaper, because in my experience, that wet newspaper closely resembles tissue, living tissue, and that's what we're trying to simulate here. So I'm not really satisfied with that last result as being definitive, so let's give it one more shot. We'll give it a try here again. So here we go, folks. All right. Well, that shot landed pretty much right next to the last one there. So let's see what we've got here. There you can see that was the entry hole. Came through here and blasted out. Just a big cavernous opening right here. That's a lot of shock right there. That's a tremendous amount of shock. And let's see where the bullet went here. See a hole there. It's starting to lose energy there. And it hit the board. Went into the board there. Got some expansion, but not like I wanted. I'll dig that out and we'll see what that bullet looks like. So next we'll try the water jugs again. Let's see what kind of performance we got here. It blew away 4 of the jugs. 4 of them there. Went through this jug, came out the bottom there. I don't know where that bullet went. Did not enter this jug because it missed it. Not sure where that bullet went. Well, folks, thanks a lot for sticking with me during this test. I have mixed emotions right now regarding these Thompson Center Shockwave bullets. You know, I've been using them for several years now, and I've always depended on them because I really like the accuracy that my gun is achieving with these bullets. This is a Thompson Center Omega, and it probably looks different than yours if you have an Omega, because this one has a custom laminated stock on it. But either way, I mean, it's still the same gun as most other Thompson Center Omegas. I wanted to shoot these bullets at different mediums to see what kind of results that I would get, and I think I illustrated that quite well. It's not very scientific, but it does kind of give you an idea of how these bullets will perform at a distance of 50 yards, which I think is a good average for the whitetail hunter. You know, you'll probably get longer shots if you're hunting out west, shooting at elk and mule deer, things like that. But, you know, and some of the bullets, I got beautiful expansion, like this one here. This one was shot into water jugs, 1 gallon jugs of water, beautifully expanded. You know, if they did that every time, I wouldn't really have an issue with them. But more often I was getting this kind of performance. You know, that bullet barely started to open up. That's not very good. Here's another one that did mushroom, and it ended up hitting the board on the side, and it kind of bounced off. That's why it didn't completely mushroom this part of the pedal's back. So, you know, you get mixed results with these bullets, and that is why sometimes you get mixed results on game too. You know, if you've had problems using these bullets in regards to game recovery after a good shot, I think that kind of explains it. You know, you want a bullet that reliably expands but is accurate as well. And like I say, in terms of accuracy, they're great. They're wonderful bullets. They're pinpoint accurate. I'm getting the kind of performance in terms of accuracy out of my Omega as I am some of my centerfire rifles, you know, out to 100 yards and a little bit further. But I think the problem, and it's just my opinion as a hunter, you know, I think what's going on with these bullets, why they're not expanding the way I would expect them to, is because I believe that lead core inside the bullet is too hard of an alloy. It needs to be softer, in my opinion. And I know why they probably put a harder lead core in there. They want deeper penetration. But you know, when you're shooting at thin-skinned game, like whitetail deer, even mule deer, you know, it's not that important to have that much penetration. I think they would reliably penetrate with a softer core, in my opinion. And you know, if you're going to shoot at an elk, yes, you want deep penetration, you want bone-crushing power, which they have, you know, at reasonable ranges. But I would still rather have a bullet that opened a little bit more reliably, you know, that made a bigger wound channel further down. I think that's why you have mixed results, and I've had them before in the past. I've shot deer squarely, broadside, right through behind the shoulder, you know, went through both lungs. And sometimes those deer ran over 100 yards, you know, and hit with something like a 50 caliber, 250 grain bullet. Well, these are actually 45 caliber because the sabot is 50. But anyway, that's a pretty massive bullet, you know, to go through both lungs like that, and a deer still go that far. Yes, I recovered the deer, but on a few occasions when I came up to the deer was still alive, you know, and the bullet went all the way through both sides. It was just perplexing to me. And then on other occasions, I've hit deer with them, and I mean, knocked them dead right where they stood using these bullets. And I think today's test results kind of illustrate that, because in some cases the bullets opened up reliably and real well, and in other cases they didn't. I think they don't impart enough of the energy of that bullet, you know, to cause enough tissue destruction, because that's what ultimately kills game. It's not so much the energy or the caliber of the bullet as much as how well that bullet performs in terms of tissue destruction. You know, if you have massive tissue destruction, that animal's going to go down reliably. And that's what you strive for, is quick, humane kills. So will I stick with these Shockwaves? I guess a fair answer would be, I don't know. You know, if I can find another bullet that opens up a little bit more reliably and is just as accurate, I'll probably switch to that. Well, folks, in conclusion, I'd like to say, thank you for staying with me, and I hope you found that the information I included here was both useful and informative, and I was trying to relay that content of the video, for fellow hunters out there, in case you decide to use these Thompson Center Shockwave bullets. So, like I said, if you like the video, make sure you hit the like button, hit the bell icon, and subscribe. That way you'll know when more videos like this will be coming your way. And until next time, you'll stay safe out there and enjoy the great outdoors. This is the Cumberland Outdoorsman wishing you well. We'll see you next time.